Welcome guys to the Meet Damien live stream. Today's live stream, we're going to be talking about Bitcoin and crypto like we normally do. We'll be talking about the stock market as well. Stock market actually did pretty well today. I'm not sure what Bitcoin's problem is and what crypto's problem is. I kind of do have a slight clue, but we'll get into that later. But yeah, we're now looking at Bitcoin price currently trading at $109,900, down slightly today after it kind of topped out earlier. We saw Bitcoin as high as $112,000 earlier this morning. If I go into the 1 hour chart, you'll see the crazy spike that we had here around 8 a.m. after the CPI report came in. We kind of spiked up here on the 1 hour chart, got a little spike up, hit that $112,000, but now we're coming down, selling off. What's the deal with that, with Bitcoin? I kind of have a sneaking suspicion what it might be, that the last couple of Fridays have been traumatizing for cryptocurrency investors. And I think people are just thinking like, hey, you know what? I'm going to just avoid Friday in general. Just not trade on Friday, because last Friday we saw Bitcoin at the lowest point this month at 103,500, and then the following Friday before that, on Friday October 10th, we saw Bitcoin drop like 7% and the altcoins just go nuclear, dropping like 50% on some exchanges here. So I think people are a little bit traumatized right now not to buy Bitcoin, but what they are doing in the markets after the CPI report came out, we are seeing that here on the S&P 500, like the S&P 500 is up 1% today. They like the news of inflation going down. Also, the Dow Jones up 1% today. And then the NASDAQ up, that one's also up 1% today. So the traditional markets, traditional finance is thinking this is great that the inflation's going down. For some reason, the memo wasn't sent to cryptocurrency world. Some people might suspect that there's a little bit of manipulation going on in the markets, and I'm not sure how much that is true. I just think at this point that people are traumatized. They saw what happened last Friday, and they saw what happened the Friday before that, and they're just thinking like, maybe I'll leave Friday alone and not actually trade on Friday. But maybe some people are actually forgetting to click the buy button right now. Okay, maybe some people are actually clicking the sell button and mistaking it for the buy button. I have no idea. I still think people are traumatized from the last couple of Fridays. I think that's the thing that I'm putting this at for Bitcoin and crypto right now. But yeah, right now TikTok is restricting my live stream, so I'm just gonna shut off TikTok right now. This is sad. Alright, no more TikTok, because TikTok says that my content is being repetitive, because I showed what I had music on, and I was showing the charts here. I was showing like trading view charts here, but apparently I guess TikTok thinks that's boring and they don't want to send people my way, so I'll just shut off TikTok for now. It's unfortunate. I try to go live on TikTok, but they make it so difficult. Alright, let's take a look at some cryptos that are actually doing pretty well. There is a crypto that I'm in right now called Avantis. And Avantis is up about 21% today. So that one's actually cashing the bids today. Avantis is a relatively brand new cryptocurrency that came out last month. Looks like it started trading on Coinbase Exchange September 9th. And it topped out here at $2.68. Had a vicious downdraft over the past few weeks here. Looks like it bottomed out here in October 20th at like 46 cents. And now you're catching the bids up to go to higher prices on Avantis. Avantis is now at the 0.236 level. This is a level that it needs to recapture in order for us to continue being bullish here. You're also getting above the 21 EMA, this white line, so that's good to see as well on Avantis. Let's take a look at the oscillators real quick. There's not much information because it's a relatively brand new cryptocurrency. I would have to go into smaller time frames to see what's really going on out there, but I can see that the MACD is showing that the selling pressure has died off, and you're getting a MACD flip, where you're starting to get some green candle showing up on the MACD for Avantis here. So that's good to see. And then as far as like money flow goes, like the momentum wave is curving up to the upside. You got a green buy dot here on October 19th saying now's a good time to buy Avantis at that point. And then money flow is also curving to the upside, where it looks like we're about to get a money flow flip on Avantis. I'm expecting Avantis to go to like $1 sooner rather than later here. And yeah, let's just look at the levels here on the Fibonacci. It would be nice to see Avantis recapture the $1.14 level here at the 0.382 retracement. This is a level that was acting as support for like the longest time during the beginning of October, end of September. But then we lost that level, and we violently crashed down from there after losing that level. I think if we come back up here, the people that bought here, they might actually want to break even and click the sell button. So I think when the Avantis gets to $1.14, there should be a reaction where we get rejected. Or if we don't get rejected, we just might trade sideways, just try to eat through that liquidity before we go up to higher prices here on Avantis. But yeah, you know, when the markets aren't doing so well, kind of drags down my numbers here on streaming. It makes it really hard for me to stream here. I'm gonna try TikTok again. I know I got a little bit discouraged there, but I'll go ahead and turn on TikTok one more time here. Maybe I'll just change things up. Put a different thumbnail. See if I can go live doing something else here. Let's see. Unstable network. What? I'm just firing up this live stream right now. Just gonna bear with me for a moment here, guys. And let me just fix the network here real quick. The network should be good. I don't know why it's saying it's. All right. Anyways, let's go back into the go live. Here we go, going live again. So yeah, I think Avantis is a crypto worth getting into at this point. Let's move on to looking at. Well, you know, let's look at the S&P 500. Why not? See what this thing can do. S&P 500 currently trading at 6,800 points, up about 0.96% today. And I think the S&P 500 is just going to continue going up and to the right, maintaining this trend line that I drew. This trend line has been fine ever since the middle of May here. We're clearly above most of the moving averages here. I have to redraw the Fibonacci to take into account that we're near what? We're at all-time highs on the S&P 500. Currently at 6806 is the highest watermark for that. So I'm going to just adjust that to 6806 as best as I can. And if we continue going up to higher prices here, we do have a 1272 Fibonacci extension that says that S&P 500 could get up to like 7,300 probably in the near future here. And then maybe later on and going into 2026, we might see S&P 500 as high as 8,038. For those who are looking to get in at cheaper prices on the S&P 500, I mean, good luck trying to get cheaper prices. We haven't really touched the 50-day moving average, this green line. We haven't really touched that since May of earlier this year. So that would be an area where you could get some relatively cheaper stocks if we ever drop down to that 50-day moving average. That 50-day moving average is sitting at 6,406. It's kind of confluent with the 786 retracement. If we were to have a drop in the markets, as some people might be hoping for, to get some cheaper stocks here, you're probably looking for that 50-day moving average, which is confluent with that 786 retracement right there. I think the S&P 500 looking fine. Let's see what the oscillators look like on the S&P 500. On the MACD, you're getting actually a MACD flip. You're starting to get green. There might be some more green ahead of us for the S&P 500. Looking at the money flow. Money flow is starting to curve back up. Momentum wave is going up, and you got a green buy dot here on October 23rd. What, yesterday? Showing that, I mean, there could be some more upside here for the S&P 500, believe it or not. For those who are doubtful about the stock market going higher, it looks like it wants to go higher. Let's go ahead and take a look at the NASDAQ real quick here. The technology-heavy NASDAQ. NASDAQ is currently trading at 23,000 points here. And also on the MACD, you're getting the beginning of a MACD flip here on the NASDAQ. And that could be good because we could be possibly seeing some more green for the NASDAQ going in the next few days, next few weeks here. Joshua Reem is in the chat. Good to see you. You want to check out Big Bear AI and Lithium America? I could do that for you. Sure, why not? I can definitely do that for you, bro. All right, we're just looking at the overall indexes right now, showing that I think there's going to be some green in the stock market over the next few days, few weeks, because we're getting about the beginnings of a MACD flip here on the NASDAQ, and I saw that on the S&P 500 as well. And let's see, money flow. Money flow is curving up to the upside on the daily time frame for the NASDAQ, and you had a green buy dot that came in yesterday, and we're not even overbought yet. Maybe when we get up to these red bars here on the NASDAQ, I would start to be worried that we might be overbought and topping out, like you saw with this top signal here. But it looks like the NASDAQ is going to be climbing up and to the right as well, just like the S&P 500. And if I do a quick Fibonacci on this thing here, we got 1272 that's saying that the NASDAQ could get up to like 25,500 points here. And maybe later on in 2026, you'll see the 1618 at 28,400 for the NASDAQ. As far as like pulling back, you know, we haven't really pulled back to the 50-day moving average since like May earlier this year. If we were to get a pullback, you would think the 50-day moving average would provide support at 21,300, which is where the 786 retracement is hanging out at 21,400. So there could be a 10% drop from where we are. And if we do get that 10% drop, then I would be a buyer of the NASDAQ because things are looking bullish, very bullish for the NASDAQ. All right, let's look at Big Bear AI for Joshua Reem here. Big Bear AI is a stock on the stock market, trading on the New York Stock Exchange. This thing is it's at $7.19. It's up 6% today. And I have asked you to ask me about Big Bear AI to see how it's doing and if it's going to be able to climb back into this parallel channel. It was in a parallel channel, a rising channel here, ever since like the middle of September on the daily time frame here, but we lost it. I'm not sure what happened here, but we had a few bad days, a bad week here for Big Bear AI. I think they might have been losing some contracts with the government because they are trying to cut back on the government. But this technology, the Big Bear AI, that is artificial intelligence, that's a technology that they don't really want to cut because they need that for the government to stay competitive and to keep their eyes on our adversaries out there. So you would expect this thing to climb it back up to that, at least into the rising channel again, get back up to like 760 or 770 here, and that would put you right back where the golden pocket level is here at $7.57 and 772, which is your 618, 65 golden pocket area. I'm expecting us to climb back up there if we're going to continue being bullish here. However, we are coming up against the 21 EMA. The 21 EMA, that white line, is at $7.37. Did we actually get that high? We got up to 733 earlier today. So I would expect that to act as resistance until we can actually flip that into support and go higher than that. if this does act as resistance, then don't be surprised if Big Bear AI comes back and makes possibly a lower high, comes down to this 50-day moving average sitting at 624, which would then be confluent with that 0.382 level here at 645. So I think if you're not using Fibonacci, you can use the 50-day moving average as a guidance to like when you can buy some cheaper Big Bear AI here, and I think you'll be all right. I think you'll be all right just buying near the 50-day moving average, and you're waiting for this thing to catch the bids again to go up to higher prices here, like you were seeing throughout the month of October and September here. Let's take a look at the oscillators here. MACD is showing that selling pressure is dying off. This could be the beginning of a higher low here. When you start to see the red turn into pink here, that could be the beginning of a higher low being formed on the chart here. So that's good to see. And then here on money flow indicator is showing that there is a little bit of red showing up. So I'm not happy to see that. What you want to see next, if you are going to continue being bullish, is you want to see a green buy dot show up, and you want to see this red start to curve up and go into the green. Okay, but this is a little bit concerning that that money is leaving Big Bear AI right now, and it's been leaving it since October 16th when you got that red sell dot. This was your chance to take your profits and get out, especially when it hit the overbought bars here. You got the overbought RSI bars here, saying that yeah, this thing was overbought, and yeah, look what happened, right? If I just close out these other indicators here and I make this a little bit bigger for you to see, you can see that that red dot came in on October 16th, and that was your signal to get out. Okay, October 16th, red sell dot near the overbought bars. That was your time to get out for Big Bear AI. Now you're just waiting for a green buy dot to show up, saying that you actually can get back in, and you'll have a few good days ahead of you. All right. Moving on from Big Bear AI, we'll take a look at LAC. So I like how normally I talk about crypto here, but because nobody wants to talk about crypto because crypto is down, we're kind of turning this into a stock market live stream. But whatever, that's fine. We'll talk about whatever you guys want to talk about. LAC is currently trading at $6.92, up 6.79% today. And LAC kind of looked like it's doing the same thing as Big Bear AI, right? We had that, kind of like a rising channel here, making higher lows, higher highs, and then boom, something happened here on October 15th that just sent us down to lower prices. But could this be a higher low that's being formed right now? I don't know. We shall see. Let's take a look at the oscillators here real quick. Going back to that, my favorite one, the Market Cipher B. Yeah, you had a red showing up here on the money flow. If it continues being red, then you're going to go to lower prices here. But if you start seeing this thing curve back up again, then money is actually going back into LAC, at least on the daily time frame. And you could have a few good days, few good weeks ahead of you if you start seeing this curve back up. And then, of course, you're waiting for a green buy dot to confirm that the lows have been put in. And then you should have at least a few good days, few good weeks ahead of you for LAC. But not terrible here, but also not the best either. This is just kind of like neutral territory here. We'll have to wait and see if we actually get a green buy dot showing up here. Let's go ahead and take a look at the MACD. MACD, the beginnings of some hope here with the selling pressure dying down today. But you just never know what's going to happen next, because selling pressure could increase on Monday next week again, and then you get a red candle again all over again. But it's good to see that pink candle showing up. You want to see another pink candle and another pink candle, indicating that selling pressure is dying down, and you might actually be putting in the lows, or at least putting in the higher low here. DZ's in the chat. Good to see you, bro. I'm going to take a look at SQD, and you said you was going to hop over to Avantis with you, but way too late. Yeah, I actually got into Avantis. We talked about Avantis earlier on the live stream already. I think Avantis is going to go to $1 at some point here. $1.14 is a Fibonacci level to look for Avantis. But yeah, we could take a look at SQD after we look at Lithium Americas here. All right, so Lithium Americas just looks fine to me. You're currently hanging out near the 0.5 retracement. The next level up above you would probably be the 21 EMA at 747, and then the 618 at 762. Those are the levels that will probably act as resistance initially before you create some support and go to higher prices. And then the next level is going to be that 786 at $8.90. So you got some levels to go through here for Lithium Americas here. All right, moving on to SQD. Subsquid, right? Yeah, should be Subsquid. Looking at Subsquid, currently trading at 14 cents, up 1.2% today. And let's see. On the daily time frame here, Subsquid has bounced off the 50-day moving average, used it as support. I think I was talking about this a few days ago when you asked me about this crypto DZ, and I said we need to maintain above 13 cents, above this 50-day moving average, above this 0.226 retracement, and it looks like it did act as support. We got as low as like what, 0.131 pennies here. So yeah, about 13 pennies is what we got for support level here. And I want to see some follow through where we kind of create like a V-shaped recovery here. We almost was starting to do a V-shaped recovery. Look at this. We have a candle wick high here that got as high as like 15, almost 16 cents here. But it looks like we front ran the 0.32 level here at 16 cents, and we didn't quite hit it, but it's still acting as resistance. And this is kind of creating a shooting star candle, which is, you know, you expect to see this at the top of an uptrend, indicating a price reversal. This is a price reversal candle, so this is weird. In my opinion, kind of almost had the same thing going on yesterday. There's definitely some people who are willing to sell this thing once it gets to like 16, 17 cents. Okay, so there's a lot of sell side pressure at 16 cents. But once you're able to make your way past 16 cents, you know, then we can move on to the 0.5 retracement at like 19 cents here. And then maybe get back up to the golden pocket at 21 cents. 21.69. What a great number, huh? But yeah, let's look at the 1 hour time frame on this one. Yeah, what the hell was this all about? Ooh, someone sent me some gifts here. Thank you guys for sending me gifts here. Binary Beast, thank you. Appreciate that. But yeah, I was saying, what the hell is up with this scam wick right here? Right, this is like kind of like a liquidity grab. You had buy side liquidity just get sent right back down. Once you got past the 200 moving average on the 1 hour time frame, we quickly got rejected here. Looks like this happened yesterday at 8 a.m. That's weird. And then earlier today, or yeah, earlier this morning, we saw ourselves get up to like almost 16 cents, and then we got rejected. So the 200 moving average is still acting as resistance right now. You're just waiting for us to like climb back up to the 200 moving average and start using it as support instead of resistance. But yeah, you're still in a downtrend on Subsquid. Now might be a good time to buy in again if you're trying to do a day trade. What's the likelihood that you actually go lower than what you did here on Thursday? Probably not that big of a likelihood, but you can game plan to put your stop loss somewhere right over here at like 13 cents. Okay, and then you're trying to just game plan to see if this thing can get back up to like 15, 16 cents again. So just doing a long position, we're just measuring this out here. If we just put our stop loss like somewhere at like, we'll say 13.5 cents, you're only risking 2.5%. You can even make your stop loss bigger than that, down to like 13 pennies, and you're only risking like 5 or 6% here. And then you're trying to see if you can get yourself back up to the 0.382 retracement at 16 cents. And you're risking about 5% to try and get 16% here. Risk reward ratio is at about 2.88, not the best. You want a 3 at the least, but it's close. That's why you could probably put your stop loss a little bit, you know, closer to the lows from on Thursday here, or the lows, yeah, lows from Thursday afternoon. And now you got a stop loss of like 2.6%. You're risking 2.6% to try and get 17%, and now your risk reward ratio is like 6.4. So now that's a worthwhile trade to take, in my opinion. Josh Sharim says, when do we see alt season, Damien? We'll see alt season when they lower interest rates. They're supposed to probably lower interest rates next Wednesday. And then also the government shutdown, if they can get the government back up and running again here in the United States, that will allow us to do crypto ETFs. We're waiting on the crypto ETFs that were supposed to come this month. They were supposed to do decisions on crypto ETFs, and then the government shut down. So it's there's a lot of things that are working against us. It's been very frustrating. I get it. You know, 2025 has been a terrible year for altcoins, in my opinion. We all know that. All right, let me see what Binary Beast is saying here on TikTok. He says, "Hello, Damien. Do I know much about Mexi? I know some things about Mexi. Mexi is an exchange that I use, and I mean, what do you have for questions about Mexi? They're some of the best. They're like one of the best exchanges in the game because they got the lowest fees. Sometimes you can trade with no fees at all, which is pretty cool about Mexi. And they got a lot of coins and a lot of volume on their exchange, a lot of liquidity on the exchange, and they always come out with the newest coins. The newest coins always seem to go on Mexi first before any other exchange. Maybe like Binance might be the yellow one that gets coins before Mexi does, but yeah, Mexi is right there getting the new ones almost all the time. All right, SQD wants to take a, DZ wants to take a look at Clanker and Banker Coin, I believe. All right, we can go ahead and take a look at those. Let's go ahead and take a look at Clanker. Clanker coin currently trading at $62.59, up 50% today. Jeez, what the hell is going on with this coin? This is what it looks like on the daily chart. Just bing. It looks just kind of like almost similar to like Co-AI. Co-AI has been going up like 50% in one day. What's the good news about Clanker coin? Could you tell me? Because it seems like it's catching some bids right now. It's going to be hard for me to kind of game plan this out. I would want to draw a Fibonacci on this, but I think I'm going to have to do the VRVP instead. But you're kind of coming up on the highs that you had here back in August. This thing got as high as $69.75. So, did you actually do that today? You got as high as like $66.82. Alright. Moving averages are well below you now. So this thing is very bullish at the moment. But after it was just in a downtrend, being bearish for like the longest time during like September and October, now you're catching the bids. Alright, interesting. I bet a lot of people wish their altcoin would do this, right? For those that have been seeing their altcoin going down, 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 this would be nice, like a saving grace here. But I would expect the sell orders start coming in here. Looks like you got the value area high sitting at $58.09. So this thing is now clearly overvalued according to the VRVP. The majority of people have bought at lower prices. So majority of people since like earlier in February of this year, the majority of people here are now in profit. So congratulations to them for doing that. But yeah, there's not really much to go with here. You know, I now am gonna have to do a Fibonacci to figure out how much higher it could go. Well, actually, no, I can look at previous price action. We have seen prices at like $62, $63 back here in March of 2025. And this thing has gone as high as $74. So let me go ahead and get rid of the VRVP for now. I'm actually going to do a Fibonacci on this thing here. Measuring from the top of this candle. 67 bucks, right? Down to the lows here in October. And you got a 1272 that says we could see $80 maybe in the future here for Clanker. And then you got a 1618 saying $96 could be coming into play. Maybe, who knows, 2026? Let me just get rid of the extend lines that are right here. But yeah, that's what you got for Fibonacci. And just, you know, if this thing starts selling off and it drops down as fast as it came up, you do have the 50-day moving average sitting at $40, and that will give you to the 0.5 retracement at 42 bucks. So don't be surprised if this thing does drop down. It could be like a 33% drop down to like the 50-day moving average. Be careful with this one. Alright, we'll move on from Clanker over to Banker. BNKR. Banker coin, right? You want to look at the Banker coin. I know there's a BNKR stock, right? This Bankers Investments Trust. I don't think you're asking for that one, right? You want BNKR USD, right? I'm assuming. Tell me if I'm wrong. But Banker coin is currently trading at 4,900 right now. Is what we're gonna call this, and it's up about 50% today. So you just love those coins that are making big moves there, huh, DZ? Hopefully you got into them before the move was made. Binary Beast is asking me about the IRS and Mexi, and they don't have a 1099. So what you have to do, Binary Beast, is you're gonna have to analyze that on your own. So there's like some crypto tax software programs out there that can like look at the data from Mexi, and you just take that, you export the data onto the crypto tax software, and it will help figure out your gains and your losses on Mexi exchange. But yeah, they don't do a 1099, so you're gonna have to do that on your own and then report it to the IRS. And you can use the help of the crypto tax software to help you do that, and then bring that over to your accountant. Your accountant can also help you figure that out too. But you know, good luck with that. Yep. All right. Going back to Banker coin here. So clearly you're in a falling wedge here on Banker coin, right? Making those lower highs here, and of course, in order to make those lower highs, you had to make those lower lows, and you were in a falling wedge. Falling wedges usually break out to the upside most of the time, and you can see that is happening right now. It is a bullish pattern, but it can be very scary while you're in it. So this is good to see that the falling wedge is breaking out to the upside on Banker coin. I don't have much for moving averages except for the 21 EMA on the daily time frame. That 21 EMA is sitting at 44.11. If this thing does pull back, I would expect it to pull back to that white line at 44.11. Hopefully it uses that as support, and then we can just never go down here to these lower prices again. But we shall see. Let's see what the oscillators are doing here. Okay, get out of here. Alright, on the MACD. Oh, wow, look at that, huh? Saving grace. You were selling off and having red candles galore for like the last couple of weeks, and now, because of today, you're finally getting a green candle here on the MACD. You got a MACD flip. Could this be the beginning of something new and promising for Banker coin? I don't know, but this is a start to something good here. And then looking here on Market Cipher B, wow. I mean, clearly the signal was there, literally spelled out for you that this was the bottom for Banker Coin. You got the green buy dot here on Thursday. You got the momentum wave is curving to the upside. And of course, now money flow is curving to the upside. So money is going into Banker Coin. And we might just be getting started here because you haven't even gone into the green yet on money flow. So there might be a few more good days ahead of you for Banker Coin. Congratulations if you got into this yesterday or before that, because you're clearly up 45%. I hope that you were able to get in, yesterday or the day before that. But yeah, the move has been made on Banker Coin. How much higher could it possibly go? I mean, can we get up to the highs that we saw in the beginning of October when this thing was at like 6,100? That'd be nice to see. And then also, can you get back up to the high here on September 20th at 7,800? I think these are your targets now to the upside. This high here in October and the high here in September. But Banker Coin has some things to work on here, but this is a start. This is the start of having some hope here on this coin, because it was not looking good the last couple of months here. Nicole Harbor. We're looking at Banker Coin right now, BNKR. Unless you want to look at Banker the stock, but we are looking at that. Appreciate you coming on to the stream here, Nicole, and I see you, Chris, as well. Good to see you, Chris. It's raining in Vancouver. Oh no, that's not fun. It's actually kind of like a cloudy day here in Massachusetts. But I guess that's better than raining, I guess, right? All right. You guys have any requests? Because I'm running low on requests right now. You guys want to take a look at any cryptos or stocks or commodities out there? Kind of want to take a look at my my Mexi portfolio real quick, see how that's doing. Looks like I'm in the green on Bonk, in the green on Avantis, a little bit of red on Floki, a little bit of red on Aerodrome, red on AVAX. I'm probably gonna get stopped out on AVAX because I don't like losing more than $20 on one trade. Let's see, what do I got my stop loss at? Oh, maybe I take that back. I'm gonna lose $32 if I don't if AVAX continues going down. But I got my take profit set at like 22 bucks. I could make $300 on a trade if it actually climbs up to like 22 bucks. Let's take a look at AVAX real quick on the charts here. All right, thank you, Mexi. Appreciate that info there. All right, so here we are looking at AVAX on the 1 hour time frame on Mexi Exchange. I did buy in at 1964 and I got stopped out at 1939, and then I bought back in again at 1933 and I got my stop loss at 1905. So I'm just waiting for AVAX to climb up to higher prices here. If it does climb up, we do have some resistance above us. There's a 100 moving average sitting at 1964 that already acted as resistance. If we can climb above that, then the next resistance is this 200 moving average at $20.04. Could be an area where I could take some profit, right? If I was to take profit, if I was to close out my my trade at $20 here, I make about $78 on the trade. If I close all of it out at bucks, I mean at dollars here, I'll make $78 on that. But I'm waiting for 22. My reason for 22? Well, 4 hour time frame. There is a average, right? No, actually, it's a little bit high. Actually, I wasn't even targeting that moving average. I was just can AVAX just get back to where it was on October 13th? It was at $22. I was just targeting this area right here for my take profit, and if I can get it there, I'll make 300 bucks on that trade. I think AVAX is worth getting into for you guys who are looking for a trade right now. It's close to like the lows for the last couple of weeks here. How much lower could AVAX actually go? I mean, right here we saw AVAX get as low as $18.41 a couple of days ago. But I think, you know, leverage trading AVAX, I'm doing a 15x leverage trade here. Right? 15x leverage long on AVAX could get you $300. For me, for the amount of margin I'm using, I can get like $300 if it gets up to $22. So, if I get stopped out on AVAX, I will try again. Like if we go below $19, I'm gonna try again until you know, until we get down to like 1840. And if it goes down to 1840, then maybe there's something wrong with AVAX, and I should probably not try again anymore. All right, let's see what you guys are saying here on the chat. Binary Beasts, Mexi is a platform that you can use on crypto. There are different regulations for different countries all over the place. If it wasn't legal, that you wouldn't be able to do it. They would have shut down the exchange already. So you have to figure out. I don't know where you're from, Binary Beast, but you're gonna have to figure out your tax stuff with your accountant, and you'll have to like I said, export the data into a tax software program that can do it for you. Okay, they have like APIs and stuff like that where you can take the data, you know, all the trading that you did, and then put it into the tax software program so it can calculate all your gains and losses. And since it's day trading, you know, in the United States, I know for day trades, you actually count 60% of your profit is counted as long-term gains, because you're actually using that for a living. And then 40% of your profits is taxed at, you know, your short-term gains in whatever tax bracket you're in. But you're gonna have to figure that out with your accountant. Okay. Chris Cook wants to take a look at ICP. Let me go ahead and write that down. And then Ihaba wants to look at CoAI. All right, so we got some more requests here. And John Robillard, all I'll say is I'm in Massachusetts. I'm not going to give exact locations here. That's as good as I get. In the beginning, I used to tell people I'm just on the East Coast. And then people kind of heard my accent. They're like, oh, you sound like you're from New York or Boston. And then I said, yeah, close enough. But yeah, I'm in Massachusetts. Chris, I mean, I'm not familiar with Canada and their tax codes either. You're gonna have to figure that out on your own, as to what you want to do. But I'm not gonna give financial advice. I know some people use Mexi and they don't even report their stuff. But you probably want to play by the rules as best as you can, and you know, report it. Especially if you got losses. Yeah, you can report that and lower your taxes. Yep, we're gonna take a look at CoAI, Laureen. We gotta look at ICP first. So let's go ahead and look at ICP. Thank you for coming into the live stream here, Laureen. It was looking pretty bleak and boring, and then TikTok actually shut down, or they restricted my live stream, saying that, oh, this is boring, repetitive stuff, unoriginal stuff here. And I'm like, really, TikTok? Really? But yeah, guys, if you can hit that like button, kind of help me out with this live stream here on TikTok, so we can get more people to show up here. That'd be great. I'd be greatly appreciated if you could do that. Alright, I just see we jumped up. We're at 1,300 likes on TikTok. Let's see if we can get up to like 2,000 here. Appreciate that. Same thing with my YouTube, guys. Don't forget to hit that like button. ICP. We're looking at ICP on the daily time frame. Currently trading at $3.05. Up slightly today. ICP is like near the lows for the year. Like as low as like, I mean, ICP has been at this price back in like 2023. Oh my god. October 2023. We haven't seen prices this low since October 2023. Talk about a round trip, huh? ICP got as high as what? $20 in March of 2024. Came back down, went sideways, came back up. Not as good in December of 2024 as March, and then came back down. I gotta be a little bit concerned. Is this a dead project? Because I know there's some altcoins that are becoming dead projects now. You gotta be careful with some of these altcoins here. I mean, I know that some people are gonna still trade them as much as they can. But, you know, trading ICP, like if you were to buy right now, I would try to sell at the 200-day moving average. I think you're asking for too much. This thing, every time it gets to the 200-day moving average, it gets rejected. Like it got rejected here in August, earlier this year. It got rejected in July, earlier this year. It's been below the 200-day moving average all throughout the year. I'm going to get rid of these target zones because, like, I don't know if this is ever going to come into play here. But I did have like target zones when I was using the VRVP on this asset. I think right now you just be lucky if you can get back to the 200 moving average sitting at like 495. Yeah. And if you were to go try and get that 495 here, that's about a 62% gain. Still decent from where you are right now. And then game planning that stop loss, I would probably put the stop loss below the lows from like earlier this week. We got as low as 283. So if you put the stop loss at 280, you're only going to lose about 8% to try and get 62%. But you just don't know. Are you actually going to get 62%? Because right now the 21 EMA, this white line, has been acting as resistance. More so than the 200-day moving average has. Every time you get up to the white line, you get rejected. Right now, that white line is at $3.57. So, like, now you gotta, like, cut your expectations down to, like, can you get up to that white line again? And that white line, that 21 EMA, is sitting at what, 357? So that's about a 17% gain. And now your risk-reward ratio is only 2. So, I don't know if this is a worthwhile trade to get into. It's okay. It's okay to get into. If you're lucky and you break through the 21 EMA and you actually can climb up to the 50 or the 200, then this becomes a more worthwhile trade to be in. Alright? But yeah, if you're going to take this trade, maybe take partial profit so you're making some money at like 357. And then you could take the full profit when you get to the moving averages here, the 50-day and the 200-day, when you get up to like 477. So what I'd probably take full profit on this one. Wait. So are you still talking about ICP? You said you're invested large into ICP. Is that what you're trying to tell me, Chris? Chris, I'd be looking to try to... I'd be trying to limit some of my exposure on this coin. You've been in a bear market on ICP all throughout the year. This was a time where I think some people were trying to get out around like $5 or $6 here before you drop down further. But yeah, I would look to start taking some chips off the table here. If you get up to that 21 EMA and that 50 and 200 moving average above you. You can recoup some of your losses here. But just know, like, it's still in the downtrend. You're not bullish until you get above the 200-day moving average. Every time you try to get to the 200-day moving average, you get rejected, or it lasts like a day or two, and then you get rejected. So, you're still in the bear market on ICP. Let's see what the oscillators are doing here real quick. See if I can give you some hopium here. Selling pressure is dying down, but we've seen seller pressure die down before. all throughout the year, only to have like lackluster, you know, upside potential here. So get ready. You know, your opportunity to probably sell at a higher price is coming. At least according to the MACD, it looks like you'll be getting some green candles here soon. But that could be just another opportunity to just get out while you still can. Market Cipher B is showing momentum is curving up, and the sell pressure is starting to curve up. So you're gonna probably get your opportunity to sell at higher prices here. But yeah, I mean, sometimes you're just gonna have to take that loss. It's unfortunate if you got a large amount invested in. You know, I had to take a loss on AI16Z. I had to take a loss on virtuals because I bought those in like January earlier this year. And I don't think those things are ever going to get back. Maybe virtuals might be able to get back, but AI16Z, you know, I bought the dip in January that I thought was a dip, and then it just kept on dipping. The dip just kept on dipping, and I didn't really put a lot into it, so I didn't go fully into it. I go fully into the bigger, larger market cap coins like Ethereum, Bitcoin, and Solana, XRP. I've gone big on those coins because those coins have been around for a while and they got, you know, a lot of things going for them. These other smaller altcoins, you don't really want to put like more than 10% of your portfolio, in my opinion, on your spot bags. Like when I went into AI16Z and virtuals earlier this year, it was like 1 or 2% of my portfolio for my spot bags. And now it's like 0% because they just dropped down to 0 for the most part. Alright, let's move on to CoAI, which is a coin that is a hot ticket coin. Everybody's talking about it the last couple of weeks. Some people are trying to get into it. Some people are trying to get into it and then they get shaken out of it and then they try to get back into it again. It's just one of those high volatile cryptocurrency coins. I'd never gone more than 4 or 5x leverage on CoAI, but CoAI has made me money the last couple of weeks now. So I am happy. And I do enjoy talking about this coin. I think on my Discord, if I go on my Discord real quick, you guys should come join me on the Meet Damien Discord. We've been talking about CoAI for a bunch of times here, right? CoAI, you know, and then some people putting up some other gains here on the Discord, but we've been talking about CoAI for like the longest time here, right? There it is. Like I even shorted CoAI last night, and I made like 42% on a 5x short. So I've been right there with you guys, trying to trade CoAI as best as I can. Alright, so CoAI. We're on the daily time frame here for CoAI. This thing has topped out on October 16th at $20.04. Looks like we kind of try to do that again today, but not quite. We got to like 19.97. The shorts are deciding to put in their shorts right now at 20 bucks. And had I been around and awake and not in other trades, I probably would have shorted CoAI myself at 20 bucks. It's worth taking a shot at. Let's get into the smaller time frames because we don't really have much data to go with on the daily time frame. So I'm going to get into the 1 hour time frame, which is a chart that I like to use when I'm trading CoAI. And there it is. That's that higher high that came in at 1 o'clock in the morning Eastern time here. We saw CoAI get up to like 19.97, and it's cooling down, coming down to the 21 EMA. If this 21 EMA doesn't hold that support, then we might come back down to like $14 here, which is where we were kind of trading at on Thursday, and also back here earlier on Thursday and Wednesday. Let me get rid of this for now. But I think $14 is where we go next if $16 is not going to hold for CoAI. Market Cipher B. Market Cipher B is showing that a red sell dot came at 10 o'clock this morning. So the bears are in control and pushing this thing down. You're also seeing that money flow is leaving out of CoAI. You're getting some red coming in, so now's the time to be in the short for now. Until you see a green buy dot. When you see the green dot come in, then that tells you, okay, money flows probably coming back up again. And time to take profit on your short and maybe think about going into a long if you're going to play that game, right? Just reversing your trade. I'm going to go short. Now I'm going to go long. Then I'm going to go short. And then I'm going to go long, right? And you could have played that game here with CoAI where you could have been, you know, long in here. Hit the level, short, long. You know, then, you know, short. This would have been a short. I was shorting last night. This is what I saw with CoAI. Let me see if I get into the 15-minute time frame. I think when we lost like one of the moving averages on the 15-minute, yeah, when we lost that 50 moving average on the 15-minute time frame on CoAI last night around like 6 o'clock. This is when I entered my short, and I didn't get the bottom. Obviously, I was trying to push this all the way down to like $12, but then I got out of the short at like $13.80. So you know, there are ways to play short if you can. And yeah, $20 was a level to look out for, because if we zoom out, we'll go back to the 4-hour time frame. If we zoom out, like we bet at $20, and that was a good time to go short and maybe put a stop loss at like $21 or $22. And if I was gonna short at $20, I would have targeted, you know, $15.78, which is your 786 retracement. And did we get down to $15.78? We actually got down to $15.24. So we already hit the 786 retracement according to this Fibonacci. But to be honest with you, this Fibonacci is now old news. We kind of have to do a new one. Alright? And I'll just redraw the Fibonacci for you. Because now we have a new, kind of like a lower high now, sort of. We can measure from $20 down to the swing low here at like $4.30, right? We got as low as $4.35 here. So just adjust that to $4.35 roughly. Okay. And now these are the numbers we want to work with on our Fibonacci here. The golden pocket is sitting at $14. All right? Like I said, if we're not able to hold $16 like we're trying to do on the 786 retracement, then we're probably going to come down to $14 as the next level here for CoAI. And if that doesn't hold, then, you know, maybe we come down to the 0.5 retracement at $12.19. Then you got the 21 EMA that could act as support as well at $12.90 here. That's not, at least on the 4-hour time frame. Going into the 1-hour time frame, if you're using the 1-hour time frame, let's see what that shows. You do not have any moving average support below you on the 1-hour time frame until you come down to the 200 moving average at 1163. But I would expect the 4-hour time frame to come save you first at like, you know, $12 and $14 here. I think you'll get saved by that 21 EMA on the 4-hour time frame. Chris Cook says you made some mistakes. 70% is in altcoins. Yeah, it seemed like during the last year or two, being in Bitcoin was the better play to be in, and the high market cap crypto coins like Solana, like XRP, because they actually made some new all-time highs this year. But you live and you learn. The altcoins are just like penny stocks. If you ever did penny stocks in the stock market, or trading like the Russell 2000, like some of those altcoins are going to go to zero. Some of them are going to drop 90%, and you're thinking you're buying the bottom, and then it drops another 90% from where you bought it at. So just keep that in mind with altcoins. It is kind of like a dangerous game. You want to stick to the ones that actually have a use case and have a good following behind them, and ones that are actually making money. Like, you know, there's some coins like Bonk and Pudgy Penguins, and yeah, they're meme coins, but they're actually making money. You know, Bonk has a validator, and so does Pudgy Penguins. So they're able to stake Solana coins and make money. And then Pudgy Penguins has like an online store where they sell merchandise. So, you know, those coins are like kind of like companies. And as long as they're making money, they're going to be around. And because they're making money, that's usually where people flock to. So like Pudgy Penguins and Bonk, even though they're meme coins, they got use case and they're making money, they'll be around for a while. These other coins that aren't making money, you know, that don't have a following, all it takes is the developers or whoever started the coin to just be like, you know what, I'm done doing this work. And they've already made their money because they got the coins probably for free when they started the crypto. Or they got it at a steep discount when they first started trading, and they still make their money, and then they just leave. And then the coin becomes a dead project. And then yeah, they'll still be trading like till the end of time. It'll just be trading near $0. So you gotta be careful with these cryptos. That's why when I got into Solana, like I did my research. I looked who created Solana, what's his background, what are they trying to do, what are they trying to accomplish, how is this thing gonna make me money? Alright, Solana, you can actually stake it for staking rewards, and you can actually generate like interest, dividends, in the form of staking rewards. So because Solana can still pay you, Solana's going to be around for a while. And Solana is also a coin that's one of the fastest and cheapest to use, so you know, cheaper and faster than Bitcoin and Ethereum. So that's one reason why I got it, you know, big on Solana a few years ago. Red Defilme Series says, what do I think about an Ethereum short? And Laureen thinks Solana will eventually outdo Ethereum. It probably is, and it probably will, and it probably might have already. On some metrics, Solana is beating out Ethereum, especially when it comes to new developers and people actually using the coin. But those two are going to be like neck and neck competitors. They're going to be like Coke and Pepsi, in my opinion, or like McDonald's and Burger King. Solana and Ethereum, they'll probably both be around, but yeah, Solana might actually outdo Ethereum. Alright, let's take a look at Ethereum here, because we had a request for like an Ethereum short. So we'll start from the bigger picture and work down to the smaller time frames here. So on the bigger picture, daily time frame, Ethereum has already been in a downtrend and has already come down from lower prices. We've seen Ethereum get as high as like 49.50, and that was like back in August. Yeah, back in August. But it has been making lower highs, and also making lower lows to get down to those lower highs. So there's the beginning of a bear case right there. You're below the 50 moving average, okay, so that's not good to see on the daily time frame. And then for support, there is the 100 moving average at 36.49, and then there's the 200 moving average at 32.45, and the 200 moving average is confluent with this Fibonacci at 0.382. So I would expect $3,200 to be a long-term target on your short if you're going to be shorting Ethereum over the next few days. If you're in like a swing trade, like a swing short on Ethereum, I'd be targeting $3,200 if it could get down to that area. Okay. I would also expect a lot more support at $3,500, so I would also try to take profit on my short at $3,500 if I was in a an Ethereum short. Let's look at the oscillators here. On the daily time frame, you have selling pressure is dying down, so not too many short sellers are helping you out push the price down there. And it looks like if this continues on, you'll get a MACD flip and you'll get stopped out of your short, hopefully for a small loss. Let's see, looking at the market cipher B, it actually says today's a good day to buy Ethereum, not sell it. So you're going against market cipher B here, saying that a green buy dot came on in the daily time frame, and also money flow is starting to increase on Ethereum. So you're kind of going against the grain here on your Ethereum short, at least on the daily time frame. But if you're trying to do, you know, if you look at the smaller time frames, let's look at the 1 hour time frame here. Could you get away with shorting it and doing like a scalp trade this afternoon or this evening, and just be in and out by the end of today? Well, Ethereum is still making those lower highs here on the 1 hour time frame, So that is building up on the bear case there for you. On the 1 hour time frame, all the moving averages are bunched up against each other. But probably the most important one is that 200 moving average at 39.03, slightly above you. So I would think about putting the stop loss above that 200 moving average at the very least, right? To be more conservative though, maybe you put it above some of these candle wick highs here. Looks like we got as high as 39.80, so maybe you might put your stop loss there if you're very conservative and using low leverage. But if you're using higher leverage, you probably want to put it above the 200 moving average, maybe above this last 1 hour candle here. 39.30. So maybe 39.30 or 39.40 is where I would try to put a stop loss on the short. But how far are you going to take your short down? Could you take it down to the lows here on Wednesday at like 37.11? Let's just game plan this out here, because you did say you want to short Ethereum. I would not go for a long-term short. I think Ethereum does want to climb up, and I think Bitcoin and crypto wants to climb up as well going into like next week. So if you're gonna take your short right here down to the lows on Wednesday, and we got to measure this from where we are right now. So if you sell right now, you're only gonna get like a 4% gain on your short if you take it down to 37 bucks. And that stop loss, you're gonna put it right above the 200 moving average, but like right above this last candle wick here. You're risking about 1%. So now you're risking 1% on your short to try and get a 4.5%, and your risk reward ratio is 3.75. That's still a worthwhile trade to get into. Okay, now, are you really going to risk 1% to get 4%? I think you want to make more money than that, right? Probably want to slap on some 10x leverage there. So if you do 10x leverage, then that 1% loss becomes a 11% loss. And then that, that 4% gain on your short becomes a 45% gain with 10x leverage. So you could do probably like a quick scalp here if you're inclined to short Ethereum, but I would not try to short Ethereum for like the long term here, because I think you're going against the grain. You got support below you. Would have been a better time to short Ethereum when it was at $4,900 near all-time highs. That would have been the time to get short on Ethereum. All right, you said you're shorting right now. Okay. Actually 30% short, quit or rust on the short, not bad, it's cool. So if you're short Ethereum and you're in profit, then let's go back into the 1 hour time frame again. If you're shorting Ethereum, I'm not sure what your entry was, but I would think about putting that stop loss once again at like 39.30, 39.40, above this candle wick high here. Hopefully that's break even for you, or you're in profit already. But it looks like we're kind of creating a higher low here. You got higher low on the 1 hour time frame, and you are making higher highs here. So I would be thinking about taking profit on that short right now and keeping the stop loss tight or near break even, or keeping it, if you're in profit, keep it really tight right now, because let's look at the 1 hour time frame. Let's see MACD here. Yeah, you got some increasing selling pressure here, so okay. The next hour or two, we'll see what happens. But if you get another red candle here, that means that the price is dropping down and you're still good on your short. But if you start seeing a pink candle show up on the 1 hour time frame on the MACD, like you see these pink candles, see how pink then turns into green? That's gonna kill you on your short. So if I see a pink candle and I was shorting Ethereum, I'd be getting out of the trade. I'd be like, all right, this thing is catching bids now. Time to take profit while I still can. before I start losing my profit. That's my thinking. That's how I would do it. You got in at 39.83. Okay, so 39.83. That put you, so you probably shorted earlier this morning, right? Yeah. We got up to like 4,024 around 8 a.m. Eastern time. So 39.83 puts you like right over here. Okay, yeah, that seems to be a pretty good short for now, but I'd be worried about losing profit at this point. So make sure you move your stop loss to like break even at the very least, and move your stop loss to like somewhere in profit. So that way, if you're wrong, at least you still made some money, you know. And if you're right, then you just, you know, stay in there and you know, like I said, maybe take it down to the lows from yesterday, or maybe you could take it down to the lows that we saw last night, where, you know, Ethereum was at 38.22, so there might still be some room to make some more money here. That's what I would do if I was shorting Ethereum. But kudos to you for taking the bet to try and short Ethereum. I think you got in at a good entry for now. All right. So we're just finishing up on Ethereum. I'm not sure if there's anything else you guys want to talk about. I kind of want to get the rest of my day here going and hit up the gym and stuff like that. But let's go back into Bitcoin right now, see how Bitcoin's doing. Bitcoin looks like it is trying to form a higher low, so I'd be careful on trying to short. Because if Bitcoin starts catching the bids, that means the rest of these cryptos are going to catch the bids here too. And you know, here on the 1 hour time frame, this is looking good for Bitcoin. Looks like we're kind of staying above the 50 moving average on the 1 hour time frame. Bitcoin is also making higher lows and higher highs on the 1 hour time frame. So yeah, we had an initial reaction. We got a little bit probably ahead of ourselves here on Bitcoin going up to 112K. But it looks like the market is realizing that things are okay. And I would expect Bitcoin to get back up to 112K later on today. Yeah. Not only that, but I would expect Bitcoin to go even higher than that. Maybe over the weekend, we'll see 115K, which is right where that 50-day moving average is sitting at. And I do have some Fibonacci numbers to look out for here. We got a 0.5 at 116K, and then the 618 golden pocket. This is going to be probably a good area to take a short on Bitcoin, because if, you know, when we get to 119K, we usually get rejected. Like we've been getting rejected here in July, and then here in August, when we actually got above 119K, it was only for like a few days, and then we topped out at 123K. An even better short on Bitcoin would be like 126K. Okay, if you're inclined to do that. But I'd be looking for longs right now, because I think we're about to do, you know, I think we're probably going to see something like this here, especially going into next week. I think we're going to see something like this here, guys, where we come up to like the 50 moving average, get rejected initially, find support, make a higher low, and then I think we're going to make a run for 120K going forward into like November. And then we might even go exponential up after that too. Because we got Federal Reserve's probably going to lower interest rates next week. Seems like a kind of like a given at this point. But with inflation kind of coming down like we saw earlier today, it gives them more of a green light to lower interest rates again for December. And if they talk about lowering interest rates or alluding to that, the fact that they might lower interest rates in December, then the market's going to continue going up, along with crypto. And even if they say like we're still not done, you know, cutting interest rates, we might do that again in January and February, then that might actually cause crypto and Bitcoin to go up to higher prices going into next year. And maybe, you know, for those 4-year cycle guys, maybe it has to be a 4.5-year cycle. if it was always going to be a 4-year cycle, it would be so predictable that people would just start front running the selling, and then it would turn into a 3-year cycle, right? But I think Bitcoin and crypto runs off of the cycle of the money printer, and it looks like they're about to start money printing. So maybe the cycle ends up being a 4.5 or 5-year cycle. Maybe we got one more good year left in Bitcoin and crypto here. I wouldn't really worry about you know, the end of the bull run until we lose the 200 moving average. It was looking kind of dicey the last few days here, but as long as we stay above the 200 moving average, we'll still be in a bull run here for Bitcoin at the very least. I'm not sure about the altcoins. You know, the altcoins, they need a little bit more help. But if we lower interest rates, that's going to help. And if we actually get those altcoin ETFs, that's going to help as well. And then maybe we'll see a bull run in the altcoins. The altcoin season that we've all been waiting for. Thank you, Ritz Kit Tops, for following me on TikTok. And guys, if you haven't done so already, go ahead and follow me on the Meet Damien TikTok here. That's my TikTok page right there. Thank you, Guapo. Thank you, Davelin, for following me here on TikTok. You can see me go live on TikTok. You can also see me go live on YouTube as well. I have a YouTube channel as well. Let me just click the refresh button on that. But I'm trying to get some more subscribers here. If you guys are watching me on YouTube, you know, please consider clicking that subscribe button if you haven't done so already. I know some of you guys like to just watch the videos, but it helps the channel grow if you actually click that subscribe button. That's all I'm asking for. Just hit that subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. All right, guys, that's gonna be it for this live stream. I'll be going live again Monday, 12 p.m. Eastern time. Okay, hope you guys have a good weekend, and I will see you on Monday. Take care, guys.